Hello, I'm Scott DuPont with another episode of Finance Your Movie, sharing tips and strategies to help you fund your independent feature, documentary, short film, or web series. Our mission is to empower you to get your money to tell your story. Okay, I'm here with Sylvia Caminer, Emmy Award winning director and producer with 30 plus credits, and you did one of my favorite films, An Affair of the Heart.
That was a fun one. That was a real highlight, I would say, in my directing career. And just pure fun. I did it with Melanie Lenz-Janney, who
I know
was
Melanie.
kind of a lifelong fan, and she kind of introduced me to that world. And we just took this amazing journey with Rick. He's so gracious. He's such an amazing performer. I mean, I became one of those fans in the making of that film.
What was interesting is in your film, you really showed the connection he has with the fans, which is remarkable.
Yeah, we really wanted to kind of come at it in a different way and just show that bond and how everybody's looking for community. And for this group of people, their community is Rick Springfield, and it takes them back to their days in junior high school or through their parents, because it's multi-generational. And it was so much fun. And I'm very, very proud of that film. I feel like it's not just a fun ride, but there's a lot of tender and heartfelt moments. And we talk about depression and survival and, just a lot of different things that you wouldn't expect.
Very cool. Well, congratulations on that. I know it was a passion project. Yeah. You have an upcoming film where I can't wait to dive into, but before we get to that, can you tell our audience, either for An Affair of the Heart or any of your other multiple films, what was traditionally the way that you raised the money for that in the past?
Yeah, unfortunately, or maybe I shouldn't say unfortunately, but for most independent films, each film is a case-by-case study in a sense.
So give us an example that might be a good lesson for our audience.
Let's talk about An Affair of the Heart.
Okay.
So we decided that Rick had such devoted fans that we would really open it up to them. Is this a movie you want to see? If so, give us the power to make the movie on our terms. We knew, and I credit Melanie with a lot of helping to raise that funding, because she was a part of that world. We knew we didn't want to make a mean-spirited film. We weren't interested in making fun of people. We were interested in community and that love of gathering for a common cause. And so a lot of this funding came from that world. We did a little bit of crowdfunding on that, and we seeked, private financiers, and we found some, both fans and not, and outside of the industry. And it just magically, when we needed money, it was there. And
outside of the crowdfunding people that are donating, 10, 20, 50, $100 or whatever.
Yeah, that was not the majority.
Did you use the crowdfunding template to get to those people, or are you just calling people up you knew?
It was more reaching out to people directly. And that was more on that particular project. That was more Melanie, my producing partner on the film, because she had the kind of, the quick call to the big fans, and she knew those people. And so it was not going to be perceived as just like a sales call. And we offered an experience that's a one in a lifetime. We had a couple of investors, fans come to Europe with us and enjoy Europe with Rick. And
awesome.
And then, traditionally on other films, it's all private funding, financing from people you've worked with, little bit of friends and family, but it's really just kind of word of mouth. I mean, there was a film I was shooting in Tanzania, a documentary, and literally like a month before leaving, our big source of funding fell out. And we had a week to raise. It wasn't a tremendous amount of money. It was under 100K. I think it was closer to 50K.
Still in 1 week.
Yeah, to get the plane, we had tickets on hold. We had to just lock in the crew. And I managed to go back to the very first film I produced, a film called Men Lie. I went back to someone who I worked with on that as an AP, and they were like, "What do you need?" And
wow.
So a lot of it's relationships and knowing that if they give you money, you're going to deliver a film. Because to me, that's the biggest risk, is when you give money, it's the dream that the film's actually going to get not just produced and made, but finished and edited and ready, you know.
Yeah.
So they, at least I think that was the biggest thing, even though we were early on and would have to raise money continually, they felt like, well, Sylvia's doing it. It's going to get made. It's going to get done. It's not going to just like, you know.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it really, for me anyway, and everyone I've talked to, it usually comes down to relationships.
Yeah, it does.
You know, so
Friends of
kudos
friends.
for your previous EP, just for stepping up with
I
1
know.
week left.
Lesson. Yeah.
I talk about a lot of times, sometimes there's two things. You should always use them ethically and not be devious about this.
Right.
But if you can convey to your potential investors the sense of urgency and scarcity, that can often help move the needle.
It really can.
As opposed to saying, yeah, we're doing this movie, and, you know, take your time, no rush.
I would say almost that's like number one. Have dates you have to hit. Is my cat going crazy back there? And come at it with passion, because if you're not passionate, no one's going to be passionate. That's like, you know, and nobody benefits. And I've had this conversation with starting filmmakers. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm working like 14 hours a day and I'm doing so much more than everyone else. And I'm like, it's your project. No one cares as much. You have the most to gain. And these are on films that I was just producing, like a first-time filmmaker, and they're making less money. And you just have to realize, like, and it's funny because I've mentored a few young, you know, kids out of college, and I always say to them, is there anything else you'd like to do? Because if there is, then maybe you should do that, because you should only, in my opinion,
there's certainly a lot easier ways to make money.
Because if you're not like driven, like you're not, this probably isn't for you. Because, I haven't gotten a good night's sleep in like 3 months because I'm working on a project. And
so anyway, that brings us to the newest film. And you had quite a scare of getting the film in the can, I hear.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we did. It's funny, you know, Scott. So I've been producing films for a while, and I just, you know, like 3 or 4 years ago, I just started thinking, you know what, Sylvia, you got to find a project you're going to be passionate about, but find something that's really commercial for once. Like, you know, find something that checks all the boxes. So I started reading scripts. There was a script I tried to option and someone beat us to the punch. And then when this script came around, my friend John Gallagher, who's a legendary indie filmmaker in New York City, he put Danny and I together. Danny Barker is the writer. She's a star, but she's also a producer with me. He said, oh my gosh, Danny, you got to meet Sylvia. I think she's perfect to direct your film. We started talking. Danny and I laughed because the script she sent me, you barely recognize. The premise is the same. And I credit her for just, we did so much reworking and rewriting, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And she's a very hardworking and talented screenwriter.
You want to give us the premise for our audience? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's very current. It's very relevant. It's about one woman's obsession with social media, and her life is basically about getting followers and being popular. It takes place on a new kind of social media platform that we created for the film called Live Hive. They have some really great perks and you know, applications that they offer their users. And for her particular page, she's a live streamer. She does a live show with hidden cameras, and she basically finds the weirdest jobs online through, like, you know, Craigslist, that type of thing. And she goes and films secretly using glasses cameras, a little pin camera, and films these activities, these interactions, without that person knowing. Through the app, she can kind of blur their faces to protect their identity. And that's really the basis for the film. Is basically we set up her character, show that all these different looks, and through an amazing, really excited about our opening title design. It's really elaborate for an independent film, but it's establishing that whole world of Live Hive, and then all the different characters that this character goes through to play these different parts. And so then the real major portion of the film is with a guy named Tom Brady, which is played by the fabulous Luke Cook. A lot of people know Luke. He was
I know Luke.
Dark Lord on the Sabrina reboot on Netflix, and he's on Katie Keene. He plays
Well, very, very timely
It is,
premise.
because it's a slippery slope, and this woman just takes more and more risks and chances on that, that road to having success and proving her worth through enough likes and follows.
So the film's totally in the can. You just barely beat
Oh my
COVID,
God,
right?
we finished filming on March 1st.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't always happen. That timing is, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were really blessed because it would have been just such a nightmare. Like, oh, I feel my heart breaks for all those people that had to shut down. And I know people. So yeah.
But in terms of the financing, you raised all that money. The production's done.
And we did that in a few pieces. We needed to shoot our lead actor out, Luke, because he was getting very busy on the Netflix show and he was coming in from LA. So we got him done in one chunk, and then we came back and shot in January and February, which ended March 1st, to get everything else with some of our day players and a lot of stuff just one-on-one with Danny. And it was all shot in New York, in upstate New York, Brooklyn, Staten Island, even Manhattan. Yeah.
Cool. And now you're raising a little bit of more money. This is for your post or your marketing.
It is. So a film like this, it's not, I mean, we're doing it inexpensively because we pulled in a ton of favors.
Under $1 million, right?
Yeah, but yes, but the post-production is not inexpensive because we didn't want to chintz. If we don't create the social media world of this film and that live Hive app, it's just going to be like one of those many films about social media. So we're spending a chunk of money. We're working with a company called Wild Union Post. Alex Noble is heading up our visual effects and our title sequence and graphics. And that's considerable. And then we're working with a brilliant post house in LA, Anarchy Post, and they're doing all of the sound design, ADR Foley's. They specialize in horror and
that's critical to find a great distributor is the sound mix.
We wanted to, because like our DP is a guy named Luke Geisbuehler. Luke's latest movie is Borat 2, opening to
oh wow,
it's going to be huge. And he does not just, he doesn't only work with Sacha Baron Cohen on all of his stuff, but he does a ton of different narrative docs. So the whole film is at that level, and it was able to happen because of relationships. But Luke is such a great. I've collaborated with Luke on like 3 projects.
So what kind of money are you looking for?
So basically WeFunder, which the thing I had no idea about WeFunder. And
it's cool. I've heard a little bit about it.
It's the future of independent film, in my opinion, because what it does is it gives the power back to the filmmaker. And in today's very kind of like topsy-turvy world, that's really important. I feel like it's going to empower us. And if it works on this one, I may start every film project with like a WeFunder campaign. So basically, I didn't really want to have to peddle. I feel like, gosh, I'm not a starting filmmaker. I've been doing this a while. I didn't want to peddle for $5 and $10 handouts and favors. WeFunder lets it be all professional. You're investing.
Yeah, you're not donating. You're actually investing.
Yeah, and then you're partners with us. So if we do well, you do well. And you can invest as little as $100. And we're going to be very thankful. And we are offering really, really great terms. So basically, we offer your money back plus 20%. So every investor on the film is being treated the same. Whether you worked with us before WeFunder or during WeFunder, you'll get your money back. So if you invest, let's say you invest $10,000, you're going to get back your $10,000 plus 20% on top of that. So that's another $2,000. So you get $12,000 back. Every investor has to get back that 120%. Then we break into our profits. That's the first time the filmmaker side of the equation gets any money. So then it splits.
Okay, so because I've seen this done different ways. So you on the filmmaker, the producing side, you're not getting any money until the investors.
I invested. I believed. I don't.
Okay, so you're an investor.
I am. Danny,
just the other producers and investors who didn't kick in.
Only money. People with skin in the game. Money.
Okay, so money gets 100% plus 20%.
Yeah.
And then you go to the split,
and that's even 50. And we did a very nice. Sorry, my cat is trying to jump up on top of the computer. No, Ziggy. We did, and not every film does this, but we said, look, these are our partners. They should get 50% of the film. So 50% is shared with all the investors, depending on how much. 50% split between the entire creative team.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and the thing with this particular page is, they get you licensed through the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's so authentic and like, I can't tell you
that would have cost tens of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
years ago.
Right. And the amount of work, though, I will say, like, this is not for the squeamish. Like, it's a tremendous amount of work, but it's basically the way you would find our page is it's WeFunder, WeFunder.com / and the name of our film, Follow Her. So it's pretty easy.
Follow her.
Follow her. Yeah. Yeah, we're really hopeful. We need to, the way this page works is that you have to raise at least 50K. If you don't raise 50K, you don't get anything. And we're trying to raise between 50 and 120. 120, we are like done, delivered, the movie.
So okay, so you set a minimum and then a ceiling.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it starts at $100, which is nothing. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd rather invest with you $100 than donate $100.
Totally.
Because that way we're cheering on our friends.
Exactly.
But if the film really does well, you get your money back and then hopefully some extra profits.
Yeah. And look, you're not going to make a fortune on $100, but you'll get back 120. And then you can say you invested in a film and you're part of the team. And we're going to keep doing updates. I think the typical number is like, I think the most common amount is like 500 or 1,000. And we're offering, if you invest 1,000, you get to come to either the cast and crew screening or the premiere. And there are some perks, even though, it's not a perk based, fundraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're really excited about it. And hopefully it'll generate some interest and we'll get doing things like this. Scott is great. And so we're excited. Yeah. Yeah.
So if any of our Millionaire Flicks audience is listening, 50K, you can just write one check, or anyone else listening.
We will work something very special with you. Like, get in touch. Just go to followherfilm.com and, we can work special credits and stuff, but absolutely. And and this could obviously go through WeFunder, but, we don't really talk about that big of an investment. We do have a 25K, but we're open to anything. We're open to big partners. Someone wants to come in for 100K and have a front credit. So-and-so presents, let's talk.
I would suggest anyone putting in $10,000 on any platform, whether it's direct, you're going to have those heart-to-heart conversations. Anyway. We're
happy to do that. We're happy to, if they're interested in kind of that experience of being brought up to speed, if we have a festival, admission that we got accepted, or we're talking to this distributor, or we're about to sign with this producer's rep. So it could be like a university, course.
And when are you going live with this, do you think? You can let me know. You can let me know. And we'll time the episode.
You have to raise 10K before you go live. So that's probably gonna, we're not live. We're not ready yet. So by the end of the month.
Yeah. We'll keep in touch and we'll try to time it so that our audience can actually take action at WeFunder.com and then, follow me.
Yeah.
Follow her.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Follow her.
Yes.
So that's excellent. And I would love to have you back on the show after the movie, after you raised all the money, which I'm sure you will, especially with your track record and, my God, all the brilliant films you've done. But then really just to share some lessons on what you learned doing this model for the first time. I think it'll be invaluable.
Yeah. I'm hoping for good things,
I'm sure. I mean, it's such an amazing way to do it because listen, you and I both might have had 5,000-10,000 minimums at times.
Right.
And you turn away a lot of people. It's like, Scott or Sylvia, sorry, I just don't have 10 extra grand liquid right now.
Right.
But those people might come in for 500 or 1,000.
Exactly.
Especially when they can do it on a credit card.
Right. Yeah. And it's all, you're treated, you don't feel like chump change. You're treated exactly as whether you put in 100K.
Yeah.
You're all treated the same. So I'm excited. I'm kind of excited for the industry. To see what there's a great filmmaker called named Jim Cummings who he does a bunch of
amazing
his films. Yeah, he gets a bunch of his stuff financed this way, at least in part.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
He
Yeah,
is.
definitely follow
Werewolf.
Jim Cummings and look
Yeah,
at some of his posts, some of his YouTube videos, because he's really
yeah,
doing it.
yeah. His werewolf movie, Wolf of, was fabulous. Yeah,
Hey,
you
have you
can.
seen it?
It just came out Friday. Yeah, it's great. Really a fun
It's on
watch.
my list.
Wolf of,
So,
oh, man.
any last words of wisdom, parting advice besides WeFunder, which we'll find out
Yeah,
a lot more
yeah.
about people trying to get their projects going and looking for that money, which is always the biggest challenge, it seems.
Yeah, I guess, surrounding yourself with people who are going to kind of bring you up, and if it's your first film, I would say find some experienced, producers, experienced DP, just partners to give you some guidance, to give you some credibility. So when you're going to maybe friends and family or people, they say, okay, well, this is your film, but wow, these people have been making films for 5, 10, however many years. That's, I think, and passion, if they don't feel it coming from you, they've got to feel it. So I'd say those two things are really important, and envision it, just seeing it happening is powerful, and just believe it, work at it, and don't give up. But,
Yeah, like the 4 Minute Mile, Roger Bannister. He saw it
wow.
and then he
Wow.
did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. If you can, believe in it, you can achieve it, I think. So,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. And it's, we are at a little bit of a precarious time, but I think if COVID has proven nothing else, is what do we all do when we're depressed or not working? Watch movies. We may be watching them on Netflix and Amazon and HBO Max, but it shows you that thirst and that craving for movies and TV and entertainment is bigger than ever. And that really helps us. I feel like for once almost in my career, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never been so I'm like arriving at the right moment with this
Yeah, no,
film.
I think it's a perfect time.
Yeah, because product is about to get really low because nothing's shot. So all the
Yeah.
stuff that would have been shot over the summer that would be done, getting done and ready for spring release, wasn't really done.
And it's never been less expensive to make a film.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Sylvia, thank you very, very much
Great. Yeah,
coming on. It
appreciate
was great catching up with you.
you
And
too.
we'll definitely circle back.
I
Maybe
look forward to it.
maybe right before your movie is getting ready to release,
Perfect.
so people can watch your film.
Oh, that'd be
We'll learn a
awesome.
few lessons about the WeFunder journey.
Oh, that sounds great. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you so much.
Best of luck.
All right.
Tune in next week, or for more info, visit financeyourmovie.com. Thank you for listening. And remember, if you have a story to tell the world, never give up on your dream. Copyright Nemours Marketing.